All right, next up, I'm going to have Jordan Giles join us. He's the Assistant Executive Director for the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. For those of you who are in the anxiety session, the last name will also be familiar. He's Dr. Giles' son, and his family is intimately connected to the foundation. And Jordan is one of the facilitators and has done so much work to put this conference on, so much unrecognized hours, things that we couldn't even begin to imagine. I get a taste of it for like one day and my head explodes. So he's going to talk to us about social media, website, discussion board, and let's give him a big round of applause because he's done so much for this foundation.
Hello, everyone. Excited to be here. Thanks for that introduction, Kate. So I just wanted to give a little bit more of an introduction. So this is my cute little family. It's my wife and my son, Jonah. He's 2 years old, and then we have another on the way in about a month. Like Kate said, so I've been involved for many years as a volunteer with the foundation, and then about a year and a half ago, I was asked to join staff. So I kind of assist in a whole bunch of different ways. All of you know there's not very many staff members, so we kind of do a lot of things. But one of my areas that I am in charge of is communications. And so I'm going to do a little bit of an overview of kind of where we are this year and what, kind of what's going on communication-wise. So we've got a couple of different initiatives. Stacy earlier today talked about Mutations Matter. It's a big initiative. We've got big plans this year. And so if you haven't seen it on social media, if you haven't shared it, I would invite you to do it. We've got, like Stacy said, there's a couple different versions. We're going to be doing a larger push this year with the agnostic version, which is open to really all cancers. And so you'll see some advertising on our social media, some e-blast, that sort of thing, a lot focused on Mutations Matter. I neglected to put this one on here, but one very exciting, and it was a little bit, it kind of happened the same time as Mutations Matter, so it hasn't had as much publicity, but we launched our new specialist map. And this was in partnership with Komodo Health. And this is where, if you haven't seen it, definitely go to the website or go to our Facebook page. You can look at it. But you can select your state, and we've created this programming where you can see for your state who are the top, physicians who are seeing the most patients. And you can kind of see, especially for those who've been recently diagnosed, huge tool. You can also, you can browse other states. You can do all sorts of stuff. So I'd invite you to visit our website if you haven't looked for that specialist map. We've got our Vietnam Veterans Initiative. This is something that will happen a lot more. There'll be more information later this year. But we've partnered with a couple different members of the U.S. House and Senate to do things from authorizing the VA to do a study, to try to get some provable service connectability with a cholangiocarcinoma diagnosis, with service in, some of these different areas in the world. And then there's some other initiatives going on. So that will be some big news coming later this year. We've got our 4 major campaigns. If you've been with us for a couple of years, you have probably been bombarded certain months of the year with our different campaigns. So we've got Awareness Month, as you've probably heard, Melinda touched on it a minute ago, but Awareness Month, it's the whole month of February. We'll be having some social media campaigns going on with the green light bulb. We have green light bulbs for sale in our employee store. If we run out or you don't want to buy one here, we are launching a new online store with the same inventory here, and we'll be expanding that throughout the year. So you can still get your green light bulb if you don't want to take it on the plane with you. You can order it and have it shipped to your house. So that's Awareness Month. Campaign for the Cure. That's very successful. In previous years, it's been in the month of July. It's been a great fundraiser for us. Another great one, which is fairly recent, is Giving Tuesday. We had an incredibly successful Giving Tuesday campaign this year, and we'll continue to have it. It's a little bit of a tricky campaign in that it's a one-day campaign, so you do a lot of prep work, and then it's the day, and then it's over. And then Candles for the Cure in December, which we just concluded. So we appreciate the support that each of you have given us, and invite you to continue to watch our social media and our other communication channels for other opportunities to support. So I wanted to give a little bit of an overview. So as the foundation has kind of grown and expanded and our network has grown, we have kind of developed some expertise, not some expertise, but just our audience is different between our different platforms. So Facebook and Instagram, we'll talk more about in a second. We've got Twitter and LinkedIn. Those are our major platforms that we use at the foundation. We're open to others. Obviously, we're on YouTube. We're on some of these other ones, but these are kind of our primary channels for the foundation. Facebook is by far our biggest audience. We have just over 12,000 likes, and it's growing every day. And for patients, it's been the best audience for patients. So if you don't visit the website very often, like us on Facebook if you haven't already. We highlight different things, Mutations Matter, the specialist map we talked about. Anything new that's going on with the foundation, that will be found on our Facebook page. Primary audience, patients, caregivers, and it's also become an amazing fundraising tool for relatively little effort put in from the foundation. So we appreciate so much everybody who has donated or hosted an individual fundraiser. In 2018, it's an amazing number. $283,000 was just from Facebook. And that's just from people, donating or, hosting $300 at a time or, whatever it is, from almost 5,600 donors, right? It's an enormous tool, and it has made a huge difference in what we've been able to fund. We've got this year we've got 4 big research fellowships. This money, as Stacey has said over and over, is sacred to us, and so trying to find ways to use it for the patients is a huge priority. And so know that we use your funds to the best that we can, and so thank you for all of that. Twitter is a little bit different, so that's our Twitter handle. It is our best communication effort with our researchers and our physicians. It's a much smaller audience, but it's a very targeted audience. We have 1,270 followers, and like I said, it's kind of the medical research. A lot of the content that we share on Facebook is also shared on Twitter, but we do also have some exclusive Twitter content as well. And then LinkedIn is something we're continually building. It turns out that a lot of our industry partners, that is their kind of their network of choice, and so we are actively building our professional network. That's not to say if any of you have any of these platforms, you can't follow us. If you don't fit into the audience, we would love to have you. So real quick before I get into how you can help, Mary talked about the discussion board, and Melinda did as well, but I want to just touch on it for a second because it is unique, and as Mary said, it is a good way to archive things. If you want to read a lot more in depth on how patients are experiencing different trials or different experiences with the diagnosis, all of that information stays within the discussion board and is very searchable. It's an amazing resource, and kind of unfortunately, as our Facebook audience has grown, it seems to have taken a little bit away from the discussion board. But the discussion board is a huge and valuable tool. And if you're not a member of the discussion board, it's free. You do need to register, but we'd encourage you to do so. There's thousands and thousands of posts you can read from patients, caregivers, and other folks that help support the patient. So if you haven't done that, please do that. So how can you help? So real quick, so fundraisers, I talked about that a minute ago, but that is a very easy way. And one of the great things about using Facebook as a fundraiser is it dramatically expands the access that people have to the foundation, right? Because you, as your own personal Facebook network, odds are most of the people you're friends with do not like the foundation, right? And so it's a huge awareness opportunity, and so that is a huge way that you can help us. As we saw from that 2018 number, we have been very, very successful, and we have invested a little bit in making the fundraiser experience, if you will, to host a fundraiser a little bit more meaningful. We share tips, we share tools, we share stories, and so there's a lot more support to do that. So that's a wonderful thing to either host your own, contribute to a fundraiser that is hosted by the foundation. Great things. Another great thing is liking and sharing our posts. We have a diversity of posts on there, and our patient stories are always the ones that get 100 shares and hundreds of likes. But there's also important things like the specialist map. That's something that if people aren't on Facebook, right, information to pull from, to share is huge. And then we're also looking to volunteers. So Cindy, who's following me, is going to talk a little bit more about that. But we are always looking for volunteer opportunities. If you spend a lot of time on Facebook or some of these other platforms, we would love your help, because we could spend a lot of time on social media, doing social media, sharing in different groups, and we could spend as many hours as we wanted on that. But we're always looking for volunteers to kind of help lift that burden, to kind of expand our network. And so if that is something you're interested in, I manage that team. But you can talk to me, or you can also talk to Cindy Thomas, who will be up here after. And that's it. So thank you so much for coming. Grateful for all of the things that you do and support for us. And I don't know if there are any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. I don't see any, so great. Oh, yes, okay.
What are you doing to improve Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation showing up when you do a Google search?
So
That's been a big problem, as you know.
It is. So we have actually received a $10,000 Google ad grant for nonprofits, and that's something that just happened and will be rolling out. So we've got, actually earlier, I guess it was late last week, we got the proposal. We're working with a PR firm who has, we've got 6 ads with all sorts of different target words, from bile duct to cholangiocarcinoma to a few others that are specific to our term. So you will be able to see some more ads about the specialist map, about some of these different initiatives through Google Ads. So good question, thanks. Any other questions? Yeah. So the specialist map was not my idea, but it's a great idea. So that has been something that Stacy has been wanting to put together for a long time. And that is something that until this recent partnership with Komodo Health was not something that we could have been able to do. So Komodo Health, as Stacy kind of talked about earlier, has access to a bunch of insurance payer data and has partnered with us to kind of clean it and code it in ways that's meaningful to us. So the doctors that you see on the specialist map are the best in your state. And that's not to say if you're an oncologist or your doctor is not listed, that doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad doctor or anything like that. But we weigh it with publications, with clinical trials, and then with number of patients seen. And the combination of that is what equals kind of our list on the specialist map. So I can answer a lot more detailed questions if you have them after this, but that's kind of the overview. Anything else? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jordan. Now he's going to run away and do more work. So